A lot of riders don't fully understand engine braking as well as rev matching on a motorcycle. Today I'm going to break down how to engine brake as well as rev match properly, and why these two underrated skills are things that you can use for a much smoother ride, not only on the track but as well as on the road. First of all, let's answer the question, what exactly is rev matching and engine braking? Well, engine braking is when you slow down by rolling off the throttle and letting the engine's resistance do the work instead of relying on the brakes. It happens because you close the throttle, the engine stops injecting fuel, which creates drag and slows down the motorcycle. Put it simply, it's a natural way for your motorcycle to control its speed while reducing wear on your motorcycle's brake pads. A lot of riders worry that engine braking is bad for your engine, but quite frankly, it's quite the opposite. Number one, it reduces brake wear and is designed to work this way. Your engine is built to handle deceleration forces, and most modern motorcycles even have slipper clutches to make downshifts even smoother. So, as a result of your motorcycle's built-in features, engine braking, and a slipper clutch, with a combination of rev matching, you can make your riding a lot more smoother. As I mentioned, not only on the street, but also on the track. But anyway, engine braking and rev matching is only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to controlling your motorcycle smoothly. In Motorcycle Mastery, I go way deep into throttle control, braking techniques, and mastering real-world traffic survival skills. So if you want to level up your riding, there's a link down below. Make sure you go check it out. Now that we've gotten the theory out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about how you can use all this stuff in a real-world scenario. By the way, I just love the way this motorcycle sounds. Listen to this exhaust. Oh yeah. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about what I call the third brake, because as you already know, you got the front brake, which is about 70 to 80% of your braking force, and then you got your rear brakes, which is about 20 to 30%. You're always going to have a lot more stopping power in the front than you are in the rear, but engine braking is the third brake in my honest opinion, because watch, I'm not even slowing down with my brakes, not using my rear, but the motorcycle slowed down on its own. Now you see, engine braking is going to have different effects depending on which gear you're in. As you noticed, I shifted down from, I believe I was in third gear, I went all the way to first gear, and when I was in first gear, that's when I got the most engine braking. As a prime example, let me go to sixth gear. I'm doing about 47 miles an hour, and I'm in sixth gear. If I let go of my throttle, there's no one behind me, okay, perfect. If I let go of my throttle, I'm slowing down, but not by a whole lot, okay? It's going down about 2-3 miles per hour every second. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to third gear, and if I go to third gear and let go of my throttle, the speed is going to decrease a lot faster. I would say twice as fast as when I was in sixth gear. So this brings me to the logical conclusion that if you're higher up in the gears, engine braking is going to work less for you. This is why in a track day situation, when I'm riding my motorcycle, if I'm going to be taking a turn, I'm going to be taking that turn in the lowest gear possible, because I'm trying to maximize my engine braking. If I relied 100% on my motorcycle's front and rear calipers, then a couple of negative things could happen all at the same time. Number one, by using engine braking, you allow your motorcycle to slow down without transferring weight to the front or to the rear. But if you use it along with your front or rear brakes, it not only helps you stabilize the motorcycle, but it also slows you down faster as well, especially if you are higher up in the RPMs. But anyway, we're doing about 85 miles an hour. If I let go of the throttle, watch what happens to my RPM, as well as the speed on my dashboard. Now you see, it starts to slow down by itself, and as soon as I give the motorcycle throttle, the weight shifts to the back. And so when you're riding a motorcycle, it's not the same as getting inside of a car, hitting the brakes, giving it throttle, or doing it all at the same time. What you have to think about with a motorcycle is the change and the shifts in weight. The good thing about engine braking is that, as I mentioned before, it doesn't shift any of the weight forwards or backwards. There we go, check that out. This is all engine braking right here. 100% engine braking. There we go. So you see what I mean? When you're lower in the gears, you got more engine braking. When you're higher up in the gears, you got less engine braking. That's all you got to remember. At the track, how you can use this is by being lower in the gears around bends. This means you're going to use more of your engine braking in conjunction with your front or your rear, depending on what the situation calls for. Now let's go ahead and talk about rev matching. It's one of my favorite things, and this motorcycle unfortunately doesn't have a quick downshifter. So if you're a ZX6R fan or planning to get one in the future, this portion of the video is probably going to come in really useful for you. It's really not terrible to not have a quick down on this motorcycle because engine braking is a lot of fun. It makes riding this motorcycle more engaging. You know, like you're already having a lot of fun riding this because it sounds so great, but when you're also rev matching, it's another skill set that you can use along with it, especially if you're going fast. If you're not going fast, rev matching is absolutely pointless. Going anywhere between 10 to 25 miles an hour may or may not benefit you. I mean, you can still do it, but it's really not beneficial. Rev matching really becomes beneficial after 25 miles an hour, after 30 miles an hour. But anyway, an engine's rotational speed, or otherwise known as RPM, rotations per minute, as well as your transmission's rotational speed, they both need to be in sync, okay? And the way to do that is by rev matching. So the goal is and should be to always rev out just a little bit more than your engine's rotational speed. So in my case right now, I'm in 5th gear. I'm doing about 5,000 RPM. If I wanted to shift down, I gotta be above 5,000. And that's how you hear that little revving sound, and that's how you know you've done it right. So if you're riding your motorcycle and just like me, you're coming up to a red light, look at what RPM you're in and always be above that RPM. The trick is to be about 300 or 400 RPMs above wherever you're currently at. You see what I mean? So the way you rev match smoothly is all about timing. So if you time it perfectly, which is pulling in your clutch, giving it a little bit of revs, and then downshifting, okay? In that order. Pull in your clutch, a little bit of revs, and then downshift, and then let go of your clutch. Here we go, red light, I'll show you. And now using my front, my rear, to slow myself down gradually. Just like that. The great thing about engine braking as well as rev matching, now that you know how to properly do it, is that it kind of adds a little bit of style to your riding, if you know what I'm talking about. It's not just the typical, you know, shift down into gears like this and then pulling your brakes and slowing yourself down. At a traffic light, you know, if you want to add a little bit of style and flair to your riding, you can rev match, engine brake, slow yourself down at traffic lights, have a little bit more fun with this. It all adds a little bit of style to your riding, and at the same time, it becomes very, very functional in a racetrack situation. If you ever decide to go on a racetrack, stuff like this becomes really, really helpful. This is why on most modern motorcycles that have like computerized screens like this and IMU systems have multiple levels of engine braking. This is why it's so important that when you're on the track, to get the best times possible, that you're using an optimum level of engine braking. And this is the reason why most motorcycles these days that are built for track enthusiasts have quick up and down shifters. But, you know, if you're like me and you have one of these awesome old school 600s that don't have an IMU system, not a problem at all. This is where you can start riding the motorcycle with the maximum amount of skill in your tool bag, which is something that I just taught you how to do right now. Continue to practice engine braking, continue to practice rev matching, and use them together in a traffic situation like this. Check it out. I'm not using my front or my rear brakes, slowing down on my own. Now I'm transitioning to rear, as you saw. How cool was that? If you have any questions about engine braking or rev matching, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget, there's a link for Motorcycle Mastery down below. Check it out. Peace.